Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another prediction video, this time talking about the king himself, Bitcoin. Where do I see Bitcoin going over the next year, year and a half? What will the actual all-time high of Bitcoin be in 2025? We really can't predict it, but there are some indicators that tell us it probably is around $150,000 to $200,000. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin, when it comes to buying BTC, me personally, I'm just not buying it right now. I've always thought in the future, maybe when I get rich, I'll buy one or two Bitcoins to have. I understand people have certain viewpoints. They think it's digital gold, and honestly, I kind of agree with that. Maybe it will skyrocket in price, but based on past market cycles and the law of diminishing returns, I would be very surprised at this point if you're buying BTC, if you're just a normal person, you're buying it at 61K. The weird thing with Bitcoin, as opposed to the rest of the market, we really haven't seen it fall too far. I mean, if BTC fell like the alts are falling, it would be at around 47, 48K right now. It's not. It's at around 61,000. And I mean, buying it right now, you could theoretically make a 2-3x, I would say. But it's going to be very hard to push, I would think, at least this market cycle, a 5x, a 10x, based on where we are right now. Now, the crazy thing with Bitcoin is if you bought in at the lows in mid-2022, I want to say that the June crash of 2022, it went down to about 20K. And then I think in November it was around 15K. Bitcoin is the only asset in the world that can have the ridiculous market cap that it does and still enable you to potentially make a 10 to 15x if you bought in and if you were DCAing when it was around 15 to 20K. You could be looking at, theoretically, depending on how high it goes, possibly a 15x. And again, I've got nothing against Bitcoin. I fully endorse it, but the problem is, in terms of me buying it, it's just not going to give me that return that I'm looking for based on where I am right now in my financial situation. I need a higher return. But in terms of the potential returns, let's take a look at this. You can see this is the exact same thing I did for Doge right now. Well, I did this a few days ago, so it's at 63K. It's down a little bit, so maybe a bit of a discount at 61K, but this is when it was at 63K. It's right around there. The total market cap is back over $1 trillion. Yes, $1.2 trillion with a T, and obviously you can see on the right, I give that 100% chance of happening because it already has happened. And then you can see a 1.5x right around 94,000. The market cap goes up. It's very hard to predict Bitcoin because Bitcoin is literally in a league of its own, meaning the market cap is so crazy, we really don't know how high it can go. I guess you could argue, and people have been arguing for a while, that Bitcoin's going to go to 1 million. Obviously, based off of previous market cycles, that's not going to happen. But again, at what point do we stop following history when it comes to Bitcoin? Because if the same thing keeps repeating, Bitcoin's returns are going to keep diminishing every market cycle. Either way, you can see a 2x right around 126K. I give it a 95% chance. I think it's happening, absolutely. Obviously, I think we're going over 100K during this the height of this next bull run. Whether it's in late 2024 or 2025, it's really inconsequential. It doesn't matter. It could happen late summer. It could happen in January. It could happen mid next year. I tend to think it's probably going to happen early 2025, but the prediction is meaningless. You're not selling right now. You're not going to sell probably in a month. You know, you're waiting for the bull run to play out. And me personally, I'm going to have to wait longer because I'm in the alts, and the alts normally run. And maybe it's different. Maybe the alts will run first, but normally, traditionally, you get Bitcoin going to the moon, and then the alts follow a month or two later. But you can see a 3x around, or what is that, a 2.5x around 157K. Yeah, I could see that being its market high around 150K. If you want to base it off of the last cycle, its high would be, I believe, around 220K. But again, you're dealing with the law of diminishing returns, with more people being in, with the market cap being extremely bloated. Obviously, Bitcoin, the first bull run, it went up thousands of X's. Now we're looking at it, and to be fair, this isn't a great time. Well, I would say personally it's probably not a great time to buy Bitcoin, honestly. But if you want to get into cryptocurrency and you want to be really safe, Bitcoin will go above 63K or 61K, whatever it is, but the time to buy Bitcoin in the micro picture was in mid-2022 when it was under 20K in the micro picture. And then you can see, you know, I give 189K, which is a 3x from here, around a 50% chance. The market cap is moving around 4 trillion at that point. And nobody knows how high Bitcoin can actually go. You could argue with all the ETFs, with the big players buying up everything, the scarcity of Bitcoin, it could just skyrocket up maybe above 200 or 300K. You can see a 4x is around 250K. I think it's possible, not likely. I would love it to happen. 315K would be a 5x, a 6x. And then there you can see a million, it looks like, would be around a 16 or a 17x from this point, and the market cap would be around $17 trillion at that point for it to reach a million. It's hard to really predict what will happen with Bitcoin because it's by itself. It's number one, and we don't know how high the market cap can go. We can just base it off of previous cycles and predict that way, which is kind of a foolish thing to do considering Bitcoin is still, you can argue, in its infancy in terms of when it was created versus where we are now versus where we think it will be in 20 or 30 years. As it gets harder and harder to mine, you would think more scarce, the price would get driven up. I also think there's going to be more stability with Bitcoin. So that would just, I would say my prediction on the high this cycle, maybe 160K. Right now we're at 63, so you're possibly looking at a 2, maybe a 2.5x. It's a pretty aggressive prediction too. I know people saying, no, it's only going to go to 120, maybe 130, but that would just be my prediction when it comes to that. So unfortunately, if you are maybe a new person to crypto, you're DCAing in Bitcoin, maybe buying it around 55, 60K, you will not become a millionaire off of Bitcoin. Although you can make, you know, a 2.5x at this point. You're unfortunately at this point dealing with too high of a market cap. If you wanted to become a millionaire off of Bitcoin, you should have bought it in 2013 or 2014. It's the same thing with Doge by and large. I mean, I think Doge is going to outperform Bitcoin just based off of the market cap. But if you wanted to become a millionaire off Doge, you should have bought in 2020, not now, with a ridiculously bloated market cap. But either way, that is just what I think Bitcoin will be doing. And I do not own any Bitcoin personally. This is not financial advice. This is just a realistic prediction on what likely will happen during this next bull run. And I understand people say, well, no, it's going to go a lot higher because Bitcoin is king. Well, it's already number one. It's not going to be passed by anyone, but is it really going to reach a $5 trillion market cap? I find that hard to believe. It would be amazing. It would be awesome for a lot of altcoins, and that would be great. And that's really where a lot of us have to make our money. We can't settle for a 2x, a 5x, a 10x, a 20x. We have to go for the 50x's, the 100x's, the low market cap coins. Of course, that's risky, but there's definitely more reward when you do something like that. Either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.